Welcome to another episode of Open Jaw's Cruise Factor. And our guest, of course, is the Cruise Factor Queen, Vanessa Lee.
Hi, Nina.
Hi. We want to get into some meat and potatoes on river cruising because you just came back from two, so you have a lot to teach us.
Yes, actually, it was interesting because it was the first time I've gone back to back, literally, a day apart with two different brands. So first week I was on Emerald Waterways, and that was my very first time on one of their ships. So that
I'm
was
not familiar with that brand at all.
Oh, really? It's a sister to Scenic.
But I've never experienced it. So
right.
Yeah.
Neither had I. So it's they would call themselves the 4-star perhaps version of Scenic, being luxury 5-star with butlers and a little more high end. And Emerald would be what I would call a mainstream, more contemporary brand.
Okay.
So, but very nice.
Was it a new ship?
No, it was, I think she was 4 years old or something.
Okay, so relatively new.
Yes, I mean, the brand has only been out 5 or 6 years, I think, so.
How did you experience it?
It was interesting because we were sailing from Amsterdam in mid-April, and it was packed, which is unfortunate, so you're tied up to boat to boat to boat to boat.
Because everybody wants to see the tulips.
Exactly. Keukenhof Gardens was a big draw. But we then sailed out and about, which was lovely. And we went to some places in Holland that I had never been to. One was called Veere, Veere, which if you ever get a chance to go, do so. Charming. So we were seeing a few new places, and their tours I found were excellent. It's definitely not trying to be an upscale, upmarket brand. It is very contemporary, it's very mainstream. And the rooms are very small. They're compact.
I see.
You could do 6 things at the same time and not move, one of those.
But
so
was
that was a little
comfortable though. The atmosphere, the
Yeah,
service,
yes,
you
yes.
felt at home.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Yes, and it's so particular to one's taste and style. Because let me go to the next week. I went on an old favorite, Avalon Waterways, on the imagery.
Are you a godmother to Avalon ship?
Perhaps I am. Yes. That ship will be retired soon. I have to get another one.
Good Lord.
Yes, the Imagery 2, which is a suite ship. So now all of Avalon's fleet are their suite ships, which started with the Panorama, and Vista is one of those as well. And you've been on them, and they have the sort of window balcony where the window 7 feet pulls back.
It's beautiful.
And I personally do not believe you need a river ship, a balcony on a river ship. You don't need it for a whole bunch of reasons. And I can tell you, on the Emerald Waterways one, sadly, every day I woke up, I was docked next to someone else's stateroom. It was so frustrating.
But that has nothing to do with the product itself.
No, except, and I'm actually writing an article about this shortly for a B2B, that too many ships at the same time are in the same place. So I'm a little concerned about river in general, in the sense that I want them to tell me, what are you doing about this? How can you sail on a different day? How can you go to places like Veere? Or with Avalon, we sailed out of Luxembourg.
I see.
Well, who does that?
Right.
It was terrific. Little tiny town in Luxembourg, and then we sailed down the Moselle.
But if you want to, which is a lovely river, lovely, I love the Moselle. But if you want to do the Danube, which is absolutely breathtaking.
It's my favorite.
You're going to have a lot of
Yes,
ships. There is capacity, a lot of it.
It is. So I think what a lot of these river cruise companies are doing, and I applaud them for this, and there's always a growth phase in every industry where it becomes a little log jammed. And I think that's where river ships are right now. You've got to find new destinations, new ports. You've got to work with that little local town or place and build a nice dock that you are going to be in that dock. You're going to have prime position. You're going to be against the dock wall or against the esplanade or the promenade. And ideally, so people have a view on both sides of the ship so that you can actually open your drapes in your room. I couldn't open my blind. It was that bad. And that annoys me. So, but that's not necessarily any cruise line's fault, any river cruise line's fault. It's the state of the union right now. So this has to be looked at. And as I say, I'm discussing a lot with them right now, and I'm writing this article on sustainability on the rivers. how many people go and when, how do you dock, where do you, how do you get priority placement? Because I think it's going to become frustrating for people, particularly the guests who have been on a few river cruises, and they're now going, what's happening? The rivers are a little crowded.
Yeah.
Which is why the Moselle or the Rhone, and now the Douro is getting busier because it's not as crowded, but it's still not very crowded.
Moselle has amazing wine too.
It does indeed.
Delicious wine.
It's
Undiscovered because all small little vineyards, right? Run by a family. They may only produce so many bottles, but really, really lovely.
So I want to see the river cruises bonding more so with the people on the land and these little towns and places, and not having, I mean, you have to go see the marquee ports. I get that. People don't want to miss those. But it's nice to also be able to go to another little town on a Sunday afternoon and maybe be one of 2 or 3 ships, not one of 10.
So really, I think the lesson for retailers listening is that you don't only pick the brand and the ship, but you also look closely at the itinerary and the towns that you're going to be in.
I think so, especially if you've got second or third time cruises. First time, fine. They have no expectation. It's all very well run. I mean, Avalon is always great, right? They've got it down very well. I'm going on Amma Waterways soon, so we'll be, and you're going on Amma.
Yes, I am.
We're on 2 different ships, so we'll pass in the night. But we'll talk about that again soon. And I think it's important that the river cruise ships and cruise lines start to really differentiate themselves. And what are their inclusions? And where do they sit? And what is the guest expectation? And what is the travel advisor expectation? We should do a whole thing on this more so because I think it's important.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, and we should do the same with ocean cruising, in fact.
Why not?
Why not?
Indeed. I can just wax lyrically about all of this ad infinitum, as one knows.
Thanks, Vanessa.
You're welcome, Nina. Nice to see you again.
It's
been too long.
I know. It's been
I've
a
got to
while.
stop traveling for a bit.
Please.
Yes.
Slow down.
Thank you.